And I ain't hit no drop in a minute. No, I'm about my business.
Rappers Guide Podcast, episode 50 is your host, Diggy Metro.
Bales Pagliacci.
Mark Borino.
We are back with Mark. 50th episode. We needed to have it be a special one.
Big 50.
Back, baby. I'm back.
Mark, the last time you were here, you talked about how you landed the Drake track, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Where have you gone since?
Well, when you land a big record like that, so many people just reach out to you, whether it's email, somehow they get your email, they get your number on Instagram and stuff like that. So basically, went shopping around for deals, and that's kind of where I've been at since the record dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, I don't know how, I guess I'll just say I signed for sure. I was trying to
I know. I was trying to dance around it too. I was like, "Oh, he doesn't say."
Yeah, I just so I ended up signing.
Let's not talk specifics, and we won't talk about the actual deal. But
and it's great, bro. Like, changed my life forever. But there's still a lot of work to do. It's like that Kobe thing. A job's not finished,
right?
So it's just now it's almost like a fresh restart. Now I feel like my career is actually starting and it has more of a purpose when I go to create records, because now I have a little bit more of an outlet to get my songs actually heard rather than just making them and hoping for the best,
Right.
So
what is that outlet? Like now that you could drop a record, you have a team in place where you could actually send these records out and they could put them in the right hands.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, that's fucking dope. Did you envision it being the way that it actually is?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I thought it honestly just depends, man. Like, I feel maybe we get signed, we all just want the work to be handed to us, right? We think like, oh man, now that I'm signed, the work's just gonna be done for me. And it's not true at all. It's still, you got to do the same thing you were doing prior before you got signed. It's kind of like you want to let your foot up off the gas a little bit. But it's not really the case, man. Your foot still has to be on the gas and you still have to push forward and make those songs just like you were in the past before you were signed. Same exact thing. So I guess you can say it's like I said, it's better that I have an outlet, but the work ethic is still the same.
Do you think that more work is required now or less work than before?
I don't know. That's a good question.
The reason why I ask is because I think that a lot of young artists think that they bust their ass their whole life to get the deal. And then once they have the deal, now I could chill.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely it requires more work
after you sign.
After you sign, but again, like there's a little bit more ease behind that work because you can now email your team or call your team, whoever's your A&R, whoever's the head guy, and be like, "Hey, I did this. What do you think? Can we get it to somebody?" And there's an actual reality behind that.
Yeah.
That song that could happen. That can actually live in a space that could be on the radio, could be on somebody's album, but you still have to prove yourself. Sure, you got signed off the record that you had, but now they want you to make records for them. This is what you're paid to do.
Now you're expected to make the records.
Yeah, you're expected to
right. Where before you were low key.
Exactly.
So in a sense, it kind of sounds like kind of like when our birthdays come around and you get like a year older, and it feel like there's not really a difference, even though there is. But it's like, okay, I still signed the deal, but it's still shit. It doesn't really change too much.
You're still doing what you did before.
Feel me? It doesn't change too much. It just kind of just gives you that little reinforcement, also that ease of mind. Like, okay,
right,
this is where the journey really begins at this point, even though you already traveled a long time already.
Right, exactly. And then it also gives you that platform to take your life to a whole nother level. Like, this is where I feel like you can make or break yourself, where like, okay, you have the opportunity now. You can take your whole career to a whole nother level. Like, you got to that point, that's like level 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the tools to take it to level 2. And it just depends what you want out of your life and your career. You want to be one of the most sought after songwriters and producers, and you put in the work as much as you can. And, you got to stay on top of your team to get that work done for you too. They have to do their end of the bargain. But you know, for me personally, how I look at this, I'm like, great. I'm ecstatic because of how long it took and it actually paid off. Um, but I still want more. You know
Right.
what I mean? I'm not at that
You're
point
not
where I'm
content.
like, it's enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I hope I get to a point one day where I'm just like, I've done enough. It is enough. Because a lot of times you get caught like, when is it ever enough?
Yeah, I don't think that even really
Because
exists sometimes.
I always said like, man, if I could just produce for Jake, I'd be. And then it happened, and I'm like, if I can just get one more, you
Okay,
know,
but yeah.
it's like there's always
that never
that.
ending shit.
Yeah,
This is where I almost feel like you I feel like you fucked up a little, because in producing for someone like Drake right off the bat, how do you follow that up?
yeah.
What other artist can you produce for that follows that track up and makes you feel like,
That same
oh
feeling.
shit?
Well,
It was Drake.
It's for me. I would love to place a record with Bruno Mars. I feel like they're of that caliber. So with hip hop, there's only a handful of artists that sell like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
My personal journey that I'm on, I want to be one of those top guys in the Billboard charts. That's, oh, I produced that record. Oh, I wrote on that record. I want that top 10 Billboard, you know, the Hot 100.
Mhm.
That's where I'm trying to live at. You know, that's my personal goal. And so for me, I feel like the big pop artists, you know, Shawn Mendes, Camila Cabello, you know, Bruno, Adele, like I want those artists. Now I'm ready to kind of like, I feel like if it was to be taken a step further, I don't know who I'm getting bigger in rap. Maybe outside of like Kendrick or Cole or something like that. You know, that'd be crazy.
I can
but-
see you doing a Cole record.
yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be crazy if I land one with him. Which I'm sure I can reach out to my team. They may be able to help with that. You know what I mean? But that's what I want. I want those pop records now.
That is a fact though, because like literally, when you mentioned the shit about like, you know, I produced for Drake, how'd I get that same feeling? I literally forgot there was like a whole bunch of other artists outside of rap. For that 1 second, I really did for that. But you know, that just goes to show sometimes, like, you know, even though this is where we kind of step in, like put our foot in as far as like rap and hip hop, R&B, whatever the fuck it's called. Eventually, you could get to a point where it's just like, I'm looking to do something more so outside, because we all know that's usually like where the bigger money is, and also that's where you're gonna get your song really heard around the world for the most part. Like, yeah, definitely hip hop runs it, but you know, pop is really
I will obviously hip hop music, R&B music gave me that opportunity to even be in this position anyway. So I'm always going to create for that genre, regardless, because I love it. I do love it. That's like a given. You know?
I want to stop you, because I just want it to be known this isn't like a Post Malone or a fucking Machine Gun Kelly situation where you land one with hip hop and then you just fucking walk away from hip hop.
Fully crossover, yeah.
Mark, as long as I've known Mark, he's been an R&B, soul, hip hop guy.
Right.
As long as I've known him, and I'll take it from even an engineering standpoint. The pop records I've had the opportunity to mix through Mark have paid me way more than any hip hop record ever paid me.
That's just how it is.
That's just the reality of the matter. So here's what we're saying: no matter how much you love something, if this is your career and this is your job, you have to go to the money.
Got to be
expandable. That's just what this is. You can love everything, right? But you have to go to the money. This is your career. This is not a hobby once you get past a certain point.
Right.
So once you get past that point and it's no longer a hobby, and you know that this is your career and this is about money, you have to work in other genres.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you want to land like a Bad Bunny record?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even the Latin.
Oh, shit.
Latin.
Yeah. That is,
you know what I'm saying? Bad Bunny is Latin Drake.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
For the
probably
Latin
even bigger
community,
than that. Yeah. Honestly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Try to get try to land music with the biggest artists in other genres.
When you think about it too, like you'll see, even though, you know, Drake is really up there, it's like Bruno Mars was like doing like, how many, like he did like 5 or 6 Super Bowls already. And it's like, you know, just being able to produce or get something with him. Yeah. Now you know your shit is on the fucking Super Bowl, where hip hop just got a chance to do that, you know, with Dre and Snoop and all of them.
Right.
So it's like the doors and opportunities that open up for you when you know, venture out into other genres is definitely there. But you can still always have that love for what, you know.
Well, the thing is, I love all genres for the most part. So that's why I want to work with everybody in every genre, because there's pieces in every genre of music that I just love. You know what I mean? I may not love the whole thing in its entirety, but I do love pieces of certain genres, you know. So that's why I want to kind of spread my wings everywhere and be everywhere. That's like my goal within myself. I want to be one of the most sought after songwriters, producers like that come into this business. And yes, there is a piece of me. I do still want to be an artist. But right now I am focusing on just writing and producing.
So that'll be like my next question. So like, I know you said that you would want to be a sought after songwriter, producer, right? So like, do you feel like you'll be okay with taking, in a sense, like a backseat as far as like in the limelight? Because once again, as being an artist, you have to be in the limelight. But once you take that step back, I feel like a lot of artists have a hard time distinguishing where they exactly want to be. Because something they want to be the focal point, but when they get to that focal point, realize, I probably just want to be behind the scenes and get my money and not do too much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I've always said this, like, I don't care how it happens as long as it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what it was. Like, I wanted to be an artist, but I always said, like, hey, if I get into this game writing or producing first, then so be it. If there's opportunity comes across my desk, I'm taking it. I'm not going to be naive and be like, no, I only want to do one thing, because I can now use this as leverage to go be an artist, or maybe go to a label or start something of my own, which I'm very passionate about as well, which I'm doing currently. But I can use this as an opportunity to network, to really, do some politicking and get to know the right people in the business.
That's what it's all
there's
about.
Nothing wrong with that. Even the podcast for us is like an opportunity to talk to people who would have never talked to us as artists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're doing a music business podcast, but also now we have access to all these people within the business that are willing to have a conversation with us because of the podcast. But if we're just two random rappers from New Jersey and we contact them, nothing. It's crickets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to know that, like, you have to be in all these different places and you have to try different things in order to get your foot in the door. If you're solely being an artist and you're not trying anything else within the music industry, whether that be going to school for the music business and trying to get an A&Ring job, whatever, if you're only trying the artist way, 9 times out of 10, you're not going. You know what I mean? You're not going anywhere because there's only so many openings for artists.
Yeah.
As if you look at the numbers, bro, like, they're not on your side.
No,
not at all.
And there are careers in music business that are way, way beyond the amount of artists that are in the business. I mean, engineering, there's fucking producers. There's so many different publishers. There's so many different careers within the music business. It's just, how much do you love the actual business of it?
Right.
How much do you love music? Do you love it enough to have a career in it that's not you being an artist?
Right.
Because for me, it's always been, no matter what I'm doing with music, whether I'm managing an artist, whether I'm fucking engineering, whether I'm an artist myself, production, I just want to be around it.
I'm in the mix.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what speaks to my soul and my heart. Like, I don't need to necessarily be a rapper. And I've been so comfortable taking a backseat as a rapper.
Right. It's almost a weight off the shoulders too at times, where like these past couple months since the Drake record dropped, I've had the opportunity to not really work on my stuff purposely, because I want to focus on what's been given to me to work on and stuff like that.
Well, that's like a reset in itself.
It's it allowed me to step back and just kind of take that breather, because I was going for so long doing my music stuff, my own stuff, and as you know, being an independent artist, you have to do everything. For the most part, I produce my own stuff, write my own stuff, mix, master. You're doing everything. You're wearing so many different hats. So it's like you're doing 20 jobs. And it's like, it felt good to stop and just be like, oh, I can just focus on these two things and not really worry about putting it out and doing the marketing and dumping money behind it. I can just kind of write and produce and see, like, if I can land and make money that way. And
money in general will get you to feel like that.
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely it takes a different type of weight off the shoulder. Not everything goes away, but definitely having that security 110.
Oh yeah, bro.
It's
like, yo, me being an engineer and running the studio for 3 years, to then getting a career again and getting paid as much as I was getting at my last career.
Right.
There's like certain comfort.
Yeah,
there's a certain, I don't need to do this as much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still down. I still want to be in the room with artists and I still want to mix and create. But like, do I need to do fucking 3 sessions in one day to the point where I'm starving? Like, yo, there would be times where literally it's like 1 a.m. and my body is fucking like shaking a
'Cause
little
you
bit
haven't
because I'm
eaten.
so fucking hungry.
Yeah. I've been
Like,
Yeah, I've been
like, do
there.
I want to do that? No.
Right.
You know, so if I get another source of income and I can just ease it back to maybe having one session.
Right.
Like if someone books a 2-hour on a Wednesday when I'm free, I'm not doing another 2-hour after.
Right.
That's my session for the
So
day.
what's the point?
Right.
You don't need it
Right.
anymore.
I don't
Exactly, you're done.
need that. You know what I
You're
mean?
done.
Like I don't need to stack up that much. Of course money is great, but also my like comfort is more important
Mental
to
health
me.
is very important.
Right.
you know?
Right. No, I agree with you 110%. So, yeah, man, it's been, it's definitely, I'm definitely happy that I'm more comfortable with
Mhm.
what I'm doing, and I could literally chill for a while and be all right, you know? But that's not really in my DNA.
Mhm.
I'm always want something more. I think we always talk about,
Yeah, it's the worst.
yeah, we hate being stagnant. If I don't work a day, I really feel like you should be, I don't want to say ashamed, but like, yo, there's people who believe in you and you're just not doing anything.
I think that there is something unhealthy to that though.
There
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the right thing. It's just like my mind can't help but
No, I
feel
get
that
you.
way because I do want to be great in this, to prove to myself that I can be great in something
Mhm.
and exist within the realm of like other great producers and songwriters. I know I can do it. You know, it's not a doubt in my mind that I can do it, but when I take a day off, I feel like, oh man, I wonder
What
if
are
they're
they
doing.
doing?
What are they
Yeah,
doing?
right.
You know, and the day off could actually spark a great idea. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I started to learn too. Like, hey, don't beat yourself up for taking a day off, like, or not working 8 hours straight every single day, doing music. Like, I've learned to break things up. I've learned to work for a few hours, take a break in between. Like, I'll work for like 4 hours straight, take an hour and some change to just kind of hang out, maybe grab some food, watch TV, game a little bit, and then I'll jump right back in for the next couple hours. And then after that, it's like, okay, I'm done for the day. No, it's like almost, and you got to know when to clock out to kind of have that reset and then jump back in the next day feeling more refreshed. Because if you don't, I think we see a lot of this in the business. I'm up, man. I'm up 5 o'clock in the morning, 6
It's the
o'clock.
worst.
I'm like, good for you, man.
man,
I'm going
go
to
ahead. Do
bed.
your
Like,
thing.
I'm going. But here's the thing: the better you get at your craft, you can get something great done within 4 hours because you spent so much time perfecting your craft or working on it that now when you create, you can get something really great done within a shorter period of time. You don't need those full 8 to 12 hours anymore.
And
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that kind of goes into like, just having like the work of mindset. Or, like when, you go from high school to college, it's like you have nobody that's in charge of your schedule and you don't have anybody that's telling you what to do. So at that point, it's all about what your decisions that you make and what you decide to do at that time. So it's like how you just said right now, it's like knowing that you don't have to work for that full 8-hour shift. In a sense, like you got to clock in and clock out.
Right.
You got to do that for yourself. And sometimes it can be hard for
It's
artists
tough.
to try to figure out when is the right time to clock in, when time to clock out. Because then again, you'll probably, let's say, work for like 4 hours. You go on Instagram, you see somebody saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be taking no breaks in music." Then you sitting there looking at yourself in your mind like, "Damn, I just fucked up. I need to jump back into it."
Yeah.
But everybody needs to understand there has to be a certain balance to the shit, or you have to understand everybody works at a different pace. But
Yeah,
as long
that's
as you're
what I was gonna
working,
say.
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Find your
saying?
pace.
Exactly.
Find your pace.
It's all about your particular pace. Everyone's different, man.
Mhm.
Like they were talking about Trump. Trump sleeps 4 hours a day. And I'm like, that's probably why he's so unhealthy. You know, like
And he old as shit, right?
like fuck the politics, like fuck all that. I'm just saying, like sleeping 4 hours a day, like sleep
You're ruining
specialists will
yourself.
tell you that
Yeah.
that's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know, if you're someone who thinks that you work till 5 a.m. and then you sleep till 9 and then you get up and you're back to work, like, bro, you're killing yourself. Like,
Right. Yeah, sleep is super important. That's something that was fun. That's something I've been working on. That's the great thing about, now that I'm able to relax a little bit while I create. I'm trying to find, this year for me has been like, how can I get on a better schedule with myself and get more discipline with, when I go to bed, when I wake up, when I work on music. That's something I'm like really, really working on this year. Outside of music is always like, it's a given. I don't even have to say it. I'm always working on music, but the stuff outside of that, getting on a really good schedule with yourself, I think is super important for longevity. Because, if your schedule's all over the place, you're going to feel all over the place.
Yep.
And when that comes, and that's when the anxiety starts creeping up on you, and
procrastination,
and,
all that. Yeah.
it's very unsettling. You just feel uneasy when you move because you're so all over the place. So I think it's important for up and coming songwriters, producers, artists, have a schedule and stick to it, just like you would with a job. You know, I saw a really cool video the other day, and they were like, "Why do you show up on time for your job?" You know, like you go to get a job, you show up on time, you make sure you're not late. But then when it's something for you, you're late. Or when it's something for you, you're very lackadaisy with it, right? It's like having that self-respect. Like, have enough respect for yourself to show up on time and do the job that needs to get done. You know, I thought that was really cool. It spoke to me, at least. You know, I really enjoyed hearing that. I was like, man, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because I struggle with that at times, like waking up on the certain time that I want to wake up on, starting music when I'm supposed to start, and, you know, stuff like that. But
setting a routine is difficult for everyone. I mean, you know, the other day at my career, I had to write up one of my employees for consistently being late over like a month span. And I was trying to explain to him, like, yo, more than anything, that's just a terrible way to live your life. Like rushing constantly. That doesn't feel good,
it's like
bro. It's
accidents.
like, yeah, it adds anxiety to your life. It adds this like unsettling feeling. And it's like, you know how much better it feels to show up like 10 minutes early?
yeah,
And just chill in your car, just chill in your car for like 5 minutes before you walk in. Like, you're not having that race. You know, that race sucks, bro. And for artists who like show up to the studio late, or they show up to different sessions late with producers, it's like, dog, like you're only hurting yourself at the end of the day.
You really are. And those habits trickle into your
real
life.
Like,
bro, not being on time is a terrible habit.
And it's just a specific showing of irresponsibility.
Right.
When you're not on time, you don't look cool. It's not fashionably late. You look irresponsible.
Yeah. You look like you just don't care.
You know, and for a lot of you guys, you're kids, you know what I mean? So like kids, I get it. You have kinks to work out and you might not have figured it out yet, but like there's also grown adults who show up late all the time.
Right.
And it's like, you have more of an issue. You know? Like I could understand a kid showing up late. He doesn't get it yet. But like a grown adult who shows up late to sessions, shows up late to all these, might show up late to a show. All this stuff. It's like, bro, that goes beyond the show or the session. That's your life, man.
Yeah, it speaks to your character.
And that's gonna speak to you going to your job. That's gonna speak to you going. And here's the thing, bro. Like, if I'm looking out to get you in a good position as an artist, because I fuck with your music, or I feel like you really have a shot, right? But you're irresponsible. Why am I going to put my neck on why would I do that?
That doesn't make any sense to do.
I'm not going to put myself on the line for you.
Right. And there's a lot of talented artists that are like that.
Right.
Like that, or would probably be great if they just had the proper head on their shoulders. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that is such a huge problem, because most of the time, we were talking about it before, how are artists? And we're all kind of like, you know, creatives are a little bit lazy. We're known to be a little bit lazy. If you could somehow get that corporate structure mind and be a creative at the same time, then I think you're going to go far.
But that's also why jobs are important for a lot of people coming up, because you do learn that when you're working a job. Like all these people who are like, I just want to be an artist, don't want to have a job. Jobs teach you certain moral values. That like you won't learn just in regular life. No. If you just went to high school, like that should teach you, but a lot of people are late to high school and there's no actual repercussions. You're not going to lose work because you were late to high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? You'll get written up, you'll do detention, and then nothing.
That's it.
You know what I mean? But like in real life, you will lose a job for being late consistently.
Yeah.
You know, and in music, you will lose relationships.
And opportunities
too.
Yeah, 110%.
You know, there's so many people who think like it's more creative of me to just, oh, I'm an artist, I do what I please. No. It's like, no, bro. Like there's real people who do have that business mindset. And if there's an artist who consistently shows me that they're irresponsible, I'm not going to continue working with you.
Yeah, you're not going to reach out anymore, you know, and that's an opportunity.
And I'm not going to put you in positions because I have connections to different producers and artists, right? But if I can't even trust that you're going to be responsible when I do set that up, why would I do that, bro? Like, it just doesn't make sense for me.
You in that meeting, like, oh, yeah, he's normally like an hour late. We'll just wait for him.
Well, check this out. It's the same way if your job goes, yeah, we're hiring. We need someone. Do you know anyone? You know the people that you could probably hit up. And then you know the people that you're like, he'd probably be okay at this job, but he's not gonna show up on time.
Right.
And it's gonna make me look bad. So fuck
Right.
that. I can't.
Right.
You know, and that's music. Music is the same. You know,
Right.
there are artists who you can't trust to do the right thing in certain situations. It's unfortunate because some of them are extremely talented. But
yeah, but it
talent doesn't do everything.
Doesn't matter.
So I wanted to go back to like when we first started the episode. You was saying like through connections that you've gotten, once placing the record with Drake. Do you feel like it's been more so? Is it more artists or just more people within the industry? And like, do you feel like that helps you? That the degrees of separation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes it easier to. I don't want to say easier, but
it makes it
more
easier
accessible.
to reach out. Well, here's the funny thing. I don't want to just be accessible to everybody. I also feel that can hinder you a little bit because then it's no longer special to connect with that person. If you're over accessible, and also I'm just not like that. I'm very reserved for the most part, and I keep a very tight knit circle. I really don't want to know too many other people. I don't need to know too many other people. But it makes it easier to reach out for sure, and I get to connect with other. I just got to work with this guy, Kirk Knight, dope producer, produced for ASAP and Joey Badass. And that was set up through the people that I'm signed to. And that is the cool part about it is now I'm getting linked up with people who have done what I've done to a certain degree. And now it's all about being on that next level caliber of like trying to do this on a bigger scale. And so linking up with Kirk, again, that just gives me, I think, well, first of all, he's incredible. Like his production's awesome. But it gives me more confidence to just walk in the room.
Of course.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
do, you know what I mean? So the more people I meet along the way, I'll just start developing more confidence I already have now, which I feel like didn't develop until like a few years back.
Well, I don't even
working.
It is confidence, right? But it's also reassurance that like the work that you put in does mean something. You know, like when you're sitting in a room with someone who also put in the same amount of work and has gotten to the same position.
Right.
Like there's a sense of, first off, camaraderie, because you're both sitting there like, yeah, we both busted our ass. Now we're here. And now we're talking from a different standpoint. Right? Like, when you're an unsigned artist and you're local and you're just coming up, bro, like the people you're in rooms with are in the same position as you.
Yeah, they're all in the same.
That still applies when you get to the next level. You're in the same position as those people now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that same comfort level is there where it's like, yeah, we busted our ass. We're working at the same as when you're young and coming up and you go, we're busting our ass to try to get these positions. Now we can relate. But the second that's why when people talk about like, yo, he got a little clout and then he stopped talking to everyone. Why wouldn't he?
Well, yeah.
Why wouldn't he? Like, yo, let's be real. Why wouldn't he?
Right. And I don't know if it's stop talking.
Not me. Not family. Not friends.
But the accessibility part.
The accessibility to the local acts. Like, people will say, yo, he went Hollywood. It's like, nah, dude, he's on a different level now.
Yeah.
And in order to be on that level, you have to also do the shit that he was doing. And I don't know why it's uncomfortable to you that he's on a different level and now speaking to people on his level. It should be like that. Right.
Eventually you have to level up. Eventually, that's the whole goal. And it doesn't mean you shut people out. And listen, I'm still talk to anybody and everybody that I was talking to prior. I'm not like that.
Right.
But people do get like that, but it's for good reason. That's not like screw you.
I think it's more like this, right? So what's that quote about being in the room? It's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? Right. It's not that you don't want to reach back down and help people out. It's more that you're on this process of learning, right? And if I'm only sitting in rooms with people who don't know anything,
what am I learning?
What am I gaining? So on this level up, I need to learn from people who have been on this level.
Right.
I'm the new one. I'm the novice.
Right.
They're the ones who have been here. So I need to learn from them. And I can't reach back down and teach you guys anything if I don't learn from them first.
Exactly. And you got to find, I was fortunate enough to find people that I considered better than me to get in on those rooms.
Yep.
And because I've wanted to level myself up. But if I always stayed so local, I wouldn't have been able to do that, and then I also wouldn't like being in those rooms gave me confidence. Like, man, I can do this too, so that is exactly what it is. I'm trying to learn next level of the business. Like I'm trying to learn next level of creating because these guys got there for a reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's something that they do is special, that you can learn from, even if it's something small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was asking Kirk the other day, I'm like, I feel like I'm more melodic with my production. And I feel like my drums could hit harder. And he's playing his music. It's just like the drums are just pocket, bro. He's just in the pocket with the drums. I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can you help me with this part of my production? Because I feel like I just can't get those drums to swing the way I want. He's like, yeah, bro, no problem. And that's what I mean. Like being in a room where he has that specialty, that quality.
We all have specialties.
Yes, exactly. And you want to pick from
And then break
everybody
everything.
you're
Right.
around that you
that's how you
feel like you
create your
can
own
learn
shit.
from.
Mhm.
And then that's how you level up again.
Right.
And it's a constant thing of being in rooms where people know more than you.
You have to
So you
take
just keep
qualities.
going up.
Right.
You know what
have
I
to
mean?
take qualities from everyone. I mean, in a corporate business, you look at the managers and you try to see how they move and what got them to that position, right?
Right.
And you start picking up different things. Well, you know, if nothing's going on, he always finds something to do.
Right.
So I got to start doing that. That's how
Yep.
you get to that position.
Right.
They look at shit like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for us in music, the analogy would be like when we're all just sitting around, who's going to be the first person to get up and start making some shit happen? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
yo, we all have these chill sessions where we're all sitting back talking and bullshitting, but who's going to be the first person to start hitting the drum pad? Like
Right.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah, you want to be the guy.
Yo,
that-
man, like
that
these
goes first.
conversations are beneficial and,
Yep.
and they do help, but it's like someone has to do the work. Someone
Mhm.
has to jump up and be like, yo, let's get started on something.
Mhm.
Because those
Mhm.
conversations will drag and then they'll eventually turn into nothing happening. And
Right,
then,
right,
and then it's
right.
too late and everyone's like, yo, I'm gonna actually skate.
Yeah, you're gonna get. Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
you know, I feel like sometimes those sessions are needed
They are.
because
To
it's almost
relax
like
shit.
you're just getting to know. But there is a lot of time
That's
wasting.
the
in those
that's the
sessions.
initial. That's the
That's
initial.
the initial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're getting
Those
to know
first sessions
people,
when you're
like-
knowing people. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. When you're introducing yourself, that's cool, having those conversations. But
Right.
when you're in the know and you guys all know each other now,
Now it's time to work.
who the fuck is jumping up? Because I don't want to have these conversations every time. I want to make something.
Right, right.
You know, if I'm taking time out of my day to be in a creative room, I want to be creative.
Yeah.
Conversations are great, man. We could have these over the phone. We could text. Like there's so many ways that we could have these conversations that don't require meeting up.
Right.
But now that we've met up, you know, let's fucking bang on some keys and
Exactly.
shit. You know?
Exactly.
Bang on some
Sure.
keys. I don't know why I found that so funny. For
'Cause
some
you're a
reason.
weird
I know.
dude, bro.
Yeah, exactly what's going on.
Yeah. man.
You said something interesting earlier when we were talking about how you wanted to jump into different genres, and in my head, I picked out this point where I feel like artists from specific genres tend to solely listen to their genre, and from that don't really grow.
Mhm.
Like if I'm a hip hop guy, this happened to me when I was younger, right? I was so heavy on hip hop because I was just enamored by the culture and enamored by the music that like I didn't want to listen to a pop record. I didn't understand a pop record, but I didn't want to listen to a pop
Yeah,
record because I
yeah.
felt like that's corny. I'm a
Right,
rap
right.
guy, you know? And if you're doing that, and this is more to like the kids out there that are listening, like if you're doing that where you're depriving yourself of these different genres, you're actually depriving yourself of different melodies and different song structures and different everything. Like there's so
Right.
many pieces
Right.
you could take from this different art.
Which helps in. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Taking the pop structure and applying it to hip hop in
Exactly.
a way will get you more marketable records.
Yep.
And that's kind of like what I was introduced to years ago when I was learning how to structure songs,
Mhm.
you know, and I was listening, I forget what song, I think it was some Mariah Carey song the guy was showing me. And he was like, look how the first verse is. Now look at the pre.
Yep.
Now look at the chorus.
Yep.
Now look at the melody she's singing on the second verse. Similar to the first verse, isn't it? Okay, now look at the pre. Like, it totally just opened up my mind. I was like, wow, like that's how they're making them catchy. You know,
Mhm.
that's how they're making them sound structured. That's when it sounds like a song. If you can bring in pop structure into a hip hop world, into the R&B lane, because a lot of times I hear like demos from R&B singers on, you know, R&B trap stuff, whatever the case is. These kids can sing their ass off, but everything sounds like a verse. Literally,
yeah.
everything sounds like a verse. Where's the hook? Where's the pre? Where's the hook? Like, where is the shit? I feel like I'm listening to one constant verse throughout the whole thing. And that's what made me lose interest in the new style of R&B. Like it's dope, but everything sounds like a verse.
Yeah.
Whereas just for me, I need structure. Not everybody needs it,
I
but
need
for
that
me,
structure too.
and look at your biggest records that are on Billboard.
Structured.
Most of the time, there's structure on all those records. So that's what I gravitate towards.
Mark, you know how many trap records I've recorded and mixed that the artist goes straight through and then they go, yo, take that first 4 bars and just drag that over to the end and that'll be the hook. And I'm like, that's
Loop
not
it.
how a hook works.
I promise you, it
Loop
doesn't
it.
sound as good as you think it does.
Yeah, like that's not how a hook works. Like a hook is actually like a separate thought. Like
Right.
it has to be, you
Right.
know, and a hook sounds better when it's a separate thought. When you can mix it differently than the verse, it sounds better.
Right.
When it's just your same vocal straight through and there's no differentiation, it doesn't sound as good as you think. Like you said, you know, like
Right.
it sounds boring.
Right.
It's just boring.
Yeah, it is.
And to add to that point, like I've really just started to realize that I'm a hip hop rap fan, but I really realized that I really wasn't listening to hip hop and rap as I was growing older. What I didn't realize is that I was listening to a lot of songs that had those pop or like those catchy things to it that allowed me to, like, now that when I make music, like one of the biggest things that I normally would do is like my choruses are usually just fire compared to just the rapping portion of it, because I started to realize like, oh shit, I wasn't really listening to rap. I think I was listening to like the pop rap or whatever the fuck it was called. And like one of the like the Mariah Carey song you're talking about, when you mentioned it, the first song that came to mind was the shit with him and Busta Rhymes. Her and Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
Baby, if you give it to me. That shit instantly stuck in my head because it's like, yo, that shit was a rap song. But at the end of the day, that
So
shit
you
like,
weren't
that shit
interested
was,
in the rap
I didn't
part.
give a fuck about that.
Right.
Baby, if you give it to me. And the same thing like when it came to 50 Cent, like the reason why he became so popular,
structure.
that gangster music or whatever that hardcore
no,
rap,
but-
that was,
yeah.
but those melodies and him singing on those hooks and bridging all
Right.
that shit together is what made him into 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
If you look at all the big Billboard successes in hip hop, they always had melodic features to their songs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Ja Rule at one point was the biggest thing out.
and he just had a
And
bunch of
all
melodies.
he was doing was melodies.
Now
you
I'm thinking
know?
about 50 Cent probably kind of technically stole that from him.
Of course he did.
Now I'm
but
thinking about it.
but
Oh,
he
shit.
he took that and ran with it, and it was just melodic hip hop, you know?
Right.
And then you get a Drake that comes out shortly after. What is that, 4 years later? You know, like 50 was big in like 01 to like 05, and then Drake came out in 08.
And I seen an interview somewhere where Lil Wayne said, oh, he could rap, but then he said he did it like the, he's like, what the fuck was that? He's like, you know, from now on, that's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
And then I look.
Yeah.
Because like melody is important in any music. Like it's like what drives music.
Well, it speaks to everybody at that
Right.
point. You know what I mean? You can really, reach the masses when you start singing a little bit more. And
That's what you're doing in the shower.
yeah, I think if you just straight rap all the time, you are totally just putting yourself in one world.
I also think
You
that
know?
rap makes you focus more on just the words that you're saying. And there's a 50-50 shot. You're either saying dope shit or you're not, right?
Facts.
And there's nothing else redeeming about it.
Mhm.
So if you're just rapping and you sound hard, if you're not saying the dopest shit in the world, people are like, ah.
It's just.
But like
yeah.
melody sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to know what the person's saying. Young Thug, I don't know what the fuck he's saying
But
on half
that
his
melody-
records,
But
but his melodies are so fucking crispy
Yeah.
that like you're hearing that melody and you're like, he's killing this song. Even if I
Right.
don't get a single word, he's killing it. The same reason why we
Right.
can listen to different Spanish records, and when they're singing on the records, like if you look at all the biggest reggaeton records, they're very melodic.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny's super melodic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, J Balvin, all these guys, Nicky Jam, like they're all very melodic, and that's why their music works, because although they might be these street dudes from Puerto Rico, like they're really singing on records.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
they're
they
really
are.
adding
They are.
melody to their records. And that's why it's so successful, because it speaks to a broader audience. Why are so many Americans into Latin music? Most
Because
people,
nobody know what the fuck they be
and
saying.
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people here probably don't know what's being said.
No.
But the music speaks to them because it's so melodic, and melody actually is universal.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
No. I agree, man.
And that's why when you hear rap from other places, if it's just strictly them rapping, you'll turn it off instantly.
Yeah, I ain't be for it.
You know what I mean? Like if someone is rapping in fucking Korean or some shit, if you don't know what they're saying, it's not easy to listen to the music.
No.
You know, you're just like, bro, I don't get it. But if they were singing, you get BTS's and shit like that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Mhm.
that's the difference. That's why like a K-pop group can come out and pop, because they do have that like melodic structure to their song.
That shit is just fucking crazy.
What?
But just the whole melody and shit. Like when you really dig deep and you really look into it, because like once again, the kind of thing that makes those successful artists, not sexful artists, those successful artists is just being able to have that melody and be able to branch off into other genres. Because once again, that's what's going to grab somebody's ear. Because a lot of times, hip hop does have that. Still to this day, have that negative look on it. Like, oh, it's just about guns and drugs and this, that, and the third. But then when you look outside of that and you see these artists that are trying to implement new ways into talking about things in their music and it's not technically considered gangster rap, you start to see those that are artists that kind of move a little bit differently and their crowds look a little different and it's more reachable. Because once again, like 70% of the people that listen to music in America is white. So
and
being able to branch that shit over and was like fully like being able to grab that experience where it's like, I don't have to fully be in the streets to really listen to this guy. And I can really vibe when I could go to a show. That shit really does go a long way.
It's just more marketable. Right. It's just more marketable, bro. Like, yo, there's something about the same reason why, like, when I made the logo for Mellow Wave, I specifically wanted baby pink and baby yellow in the logo because I knew that those colors are just friendly and they're more calm and they don't seem scary.
They're inviting.
And in hip hop, right, they're inviting. And in hip hop, a lot of the shit that people go to is like that like gritty, tough. And it's like, yo, I want to eventually be in the room with these older gentlemen who are signing the checkbooks and what is marketable to them. You know, because they don't get down with the gritty shit. They're not about that. You know, they're fucking in suits and ties and you have to also be marketable to them. So like with music, when you're more melodic or you do have those like catchy parts of your song, you're more marketable to those people who don't really understand the gritty, hard hip hop. You know what I mean? Yep. There's still people.
And there's a lot of them.
And you have to look like, bro, the hardest rappers in the world, right? Like those guys who are all street and hard, right? It's like, where is their plateau? Because you can't look at like a Pop Smoke and be like, he's not melodic. He's super melodic.
Yeah, even like Dirk, Baby.
All these guys who get to that like really serious point, they're all melodic. You know what I mean? And that's where hip hop's at right now. But like, if you look at these guys, like I'm a real big fan of an underground rapper named Boldy James. Boldy James is pretty big now, but like Boldy James has a plateau, man. He'll never get to the point of like a Lil Baby because he's not that multifaceted. He just raps.
I think the only person that probably got anywhere close to that is like what Griselda is doing. Like, they're reaching that point.
Right, but even Griselda, like there is a plateau, man. They're not marketable to like moms.
Oh, definitely not.
You feel me? Like you're not playing a West Side Gun.
You're cutting off a lot.
What does he mean the butcher's coming?
Yeah. Think about like a West Side Gun record. You're not playing that for your mom. But like if Drake drops a new record and there is singing in it and it's like more poppy,
you could definitely
play that for your mom and there'd be no issue. You can play it in the background. She's not gonna be like, turn that shit off. A West Side Gun record, she's gonna be like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's a difference in like who it can actually reach.
Right.
And I feel like there's different types of artists and music's subjective, but like your goal as a business is to reach the most people.
Right.
You can have your own specific taste and you can only want to like corner a certain market and that's perfectly fine. But like you're also trying to give yourself the best chance to win.
Right. And what were we talking about too? Like we love to create, but don't get it twisted. The goal is to make money and have a career out of this. And if you're cutting yourself off already of a huge demographic, you're cutting away a lot of money. And here's the thing. Now, listen, you can be like, hey, I'm happy with just where I'm at. And it all depends on your level of success that you want for yourself. But most people want that millions of dollars success when it comes to making music. Because
fuck making music. When it comes to life,
so
bro,
when you
work a job,
you want the money.
If you told me that I had to do X, Y, and Z at my job in order to get into a position where I'm making six figures, I'm probably going to do that if I'm going to be at this job. You know what I mean? Like if I'm choosing to be at this job, I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to be the most successful I can be in this position, right?
Yep.
So the same applies to music. If I'm telling you, yo, you need this, and that to be more successful in this game.
Right.
And you're not incorporating it because you have like I only want to be a hard rapper.
Like ego. It's ego, man.
It's ego. So you're not reaching the heights that you could potentially reach just because you are hard-headed.
Right. If you could somehow find a way to quiet your ego, that will just take you to places you never even thought of. You know what I mean? but it's very hard. I mean, even I have trouble with it at time, and everyone does. Everybody does. Ego plays a huge role in everyone's life. But if you can learn how to tame that and just be, just kind of go with the punches and be open to different things and push that pride to the side a little bit, I think you're going to go far just off of that alone. Yeah, just off of that alone. It's really not. I mean, I don't think it's really hard to get ahead.
Just stay open-minded.
It's not. As long as you're open-minded and you stay consistent and you find yourself kind of going on that slow incline of getting better each and every time, it's going to happen for you.
And it's also like know how to play the game.
Know how to play the game, now we can get into a whole different discussion about how to read rooms.
Yeah.
Knowing when to open your mouth and keep your mouth shut when it comes to certain conversations. Huge. And this is something that's so over. This can be a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Honestly, a whole nother episode of knowing how to act in rooms, knowing when to comment on something, when not to comment on something, when to just be a fly on the wall and listen. Don't act like you know everything in front of people who have been doing it forever. Like if you can learn how to just be around people and read rooms, forget it. You will.
Yeah, being personable definitely goes a long way.
Well, fuck personable. We're talking more or less. If you are sitting in a room with a bunch of people who have been doing this for a long time and they have all the wisdom that you need in order to get to that next level, right? Why are you not shutting the fuck up?
Right.
Unless you're asking a question.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like if I see two people who are higher up than me and they're talking about the business, I'm going to sit there and just soak it all up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Same way that from a different standpoint, when I went to Boston and watched my boy's album being mixed, I sat there and I watched every plugin. I watched every move he made. I watched all the reverb tricks he was doing. I took that back with me and it made me a better engineer.
Right.
I didn't ask questions. I just watched.
Right.
I shut the fuck up. I could have been that guy there like, yo, this track sounds hard. Yo, let me get some weed. Yo, let me get a drink. Like, nah, bro. I sat close to the engineer and I was just watching every fucking move.
You're there to
learn. I was trying to soak in everything I can. Like, there's a real benefit to being that guy in music.
Huge benefit. It's something that's really overlooked. Don't do too much, man. Just be yourself when you're in rooms.
Or maybe don't be yourself.
Well, it depends who you are as a person. That's a fact. But myself, I'm very reserved and I really just observe more than I do talk when I'm in rooms that I've never been in before, or I'm around people I don't know, because it's always annoying to have that guy who's just doing too much.
Yeah.
And you can tell. It's very, very noticeable.
You start to realize it. Everybody start looking a little weird.
It's very transparent, man. You can tell when someone's like, all right, just
you're trying too hard.
You're trying too hard to like get
to be impressive or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I've had artists come to the studio and the artist will be dope, but their friend is like suggesting all these different things to them. And yo, I've had so many conversations where I'm like, yo, your friend is like not good for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
he will ruin a lot of things.
Yeah, like the suggestions that your friend was making, it's like, what credentials does he have to be making those suggestions? That's what I'm wondering.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's suggesting that you do this with your voice or do that with your bars. And does he have a single fucking song? Like, what are we talking about?
I had a friend of mine who did that. And I had to like tell one of his other friends, like, he just can never be around me when I'm around certain people, because you just can't do that. It's like not your place. Just sit there. You know,
just shut up.
Just shut up. You can have conversations with someone. Don't suggest anything if you're not even in that field.
And that's one thing. Everybody feels like they know what they're talking about.
The second that they walk into a studio, though.
They never, and majority of the time they don't know anything. It's just like one of the things that I definitely say that is a benefit for me is like I come from like the psychology world. So my first initial thing is always like listen to people first more so than I talk, which is definitely a benefit. But then sometimes when you start really listening to people and they're talking to you about certain shit, especially like the music aspect, and they have no business being in the music, like you don't have no clue what the fuck you're talking about, but you're just blabbering off as if you do.
Well, because they probably don't want to seem stupid. And
but it's just like, yo, in my mind, I'm listening to you as you're talking. Like, yeah, you seem fucking stupid. You don't know what the fuck is going on right now.
Bro, I've had people in my life say, I like your music, but like, I think you should try to sing more like Chris Brown. Do you realize that Chris Brown has he's a gifted voice? He knows how to sing. You can't just do that. You know what I mean? Like he was born with that. It's like, yo, just shut up. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I know you like listening to Chris Brown on the radio. Me and him, two different artists,
Completely
don't sound
different
anything
people.
alike. So
Yeah.
that suggestion, horrible.
Unless you
Just
woke up in
stop.
Chris Brown's body like Little Dicky did.
That, then I might be able to. No,
Might be
you're
able to
right.
get away with
You're
it.
right. Yeah. No, that would definitely
The
be.
fucking Freaky Friday. Oh,
But
my
yeah,
God.
bro, it's, I think that people would benefit from listening. I think that artists, as a whole, can benefit from just soaking up knowledge and taking people's advice that have done it for longer. We suggest that all the time. I know that artists are stubborn because you need to fall and bump your head a couple times just to like kind of like really learn. But for the most part, there's so much that could help you if you're just sitting in the room and just listening.
Right, man. It's something that's so overlooked. So hopefully when people see this and this kind of sticks with them a little bit to carry into different rooms, and it will pay off. I promise you that. Been doing that since I started. Also, but again, it's also the type of person I am. Like I'm laid back, so you can just be more laid back in certain situations and just observe more than you speak, then I think you'll be all right in this business for sure.
Is there anything else you probably learned, like being in those rooms or like having those conversations?
I don't know. I don't want to. I'm always learning, but I feel like we do know more than the average songwriter, producer. Because a lot of times I go into rooms preaching this stuff to people, and they're like, "Man, I never even thought of it like that." You know what I mean? And I just have more of that business corporate structure in my brain because I've worked so many jobs in my life that it gave me that.
Mhm.
I saw what it takes to run a business, and I've been a part of it. And like I took those lessons and that experience, and I shaped that with my music as well. Because how many times we run into songwriters and producers in the studio that don't really understand the business at all. Like
That's a fact.
and this is something that, so like, yeah, I always learn going into rooms, but lately I feel like I've noticed a lot of people don't really know.
And
Like,
Well, that
what
could
is
also,
going-
but that could also be the argument that we're making, where it's like maybe you need to be in different rooms.
different rooms.
Because I think
different
that
rooms.
you'll eventually get into the room where you're like, I have
I don't
no
know
idea
if
what
we
the
have-
fuck you're talking about.
Right.
You know, so it just depends on what room you're in. Like,
for sure.
like, of course, you're going to be put in situations where there's people who know less, and then you're going to be put in situations where there's people who know way more. And,
Right.
and in those situations, you're going to feel like, wow, I really benefit from that session.
that,
Because,
yeah.
being real, like, as an engineer who constantly, with the artists who come through, I'm constantly trying to kick knowledge to them and kick game to them, same way we do on this podcast.
Mhm.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the times it's like, I'm not learning anything
Right.
from that
you're
situation.
You're yeah.
I'm teaching,
right.
but I have to actively go out and
Get the information
research.
for yourself.
And that's why this podcast has been great, because getting people like Z on the phone, getting people like Sue on the phone, Keys,
Corey, everybody.
all these people, when we're having conversations, they just throw, even if you knew majority of what they're talking about, they throw a couple things out there that you're like, oh shit,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
And that part really helped me.
I always run into rooms, like every time I'm in a room, I'm learning something. You know,
Right.
I don't want to say one is more important than the other, because I'm always picking something.
Taking something out and putting it all
Even
together.
if it's so small, like I'm carrying that with me. I'm like, okay, cool, just learned something today.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Even if I knew, like you said, like it mostly
90%,
everything.
yeah. Mhm.
But then there's always something that you do not know, or you are not as good. Like I was saying with Kirk Knight and his jump pad, I'm like, bro, I don't know how to do that yet. I mean, I could. It'll probably take me like an hour or two, but you know how to do it in like 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, show me the way.
Like, show me the way. Show me, like, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. That's what I try to pick up from people, their production skills or writing skills. Man, what made you think of it that way? That's
I also think
all
that's
I'm
the
trying
key
to
to
learn.
life, bro.
That's
I think
key to everything. Yeah.
I think the key to life is not necessarily learning. Like, it's like, okay, you might know what you have to do, but how do you do it the quickest? How are you the most
Mhm.
efficient with
Mhm.
it? How do you get from point A to point B through the shortcuts? Like, how do you do
Right.
this quicker? And that allows you, like, I'll say one of my benefits as an engineer is the fact that I'm able to mix a track quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like what I could do within
and
2
I
hours.
pick your brain when you come to my
Right.
studio. I'm like, yo, can you show me how to do that? And again, like this is something where you put your ego, your pride to the side, and you just admit, like, yo, this guy knows a little bit more than what I'm doing. Let me ask him some questions.
The thing about being in the room with the right people, though, is that usually there's not a lot of ego involved.
Exactly.
Usually when you're in the room, like for me, when I'm in the room with people, those people are usually like hand selected because we both can approach it from a non-ego standpoint. Like we're both willing to accept that there's shit we just don't know. And there's a lot of beauty and there's a lot of like greatness that comes from that. Like you being able to be like, okay, you know how to produce. I know how to rap. How do we figure out a way to teach each other this shit? Or you know how to produce. I know how to engineer. You lay out the beat. I'll make the beat sound incredible. Like you could take so much from those. And in that, like, yo, I have certain situations set up with producers where I'm like, yo, when you come through, show me how to chop samples. Like, show me how to lay out your drums. Like, show me how to do this stuff, and I'll show you how to EQ a vocal.
I'll show you, like, it's almost like you're exchanging.
It's a barter system.
Yeah.
You know, but it's great, especially with artists, because we all do have like our superpower. Like there's one thing that all of us have that's like for Bales, I would say your melodies for your hooks are fucking incredible to me. You know what I mean? And that's one of your strong points. So like I could take that from you and learn that from you and incorporate it to my song. You know, and I just think that that's the benefit of working in this field with people who are actually doing it.
Right. And also having that that eagerness to learn, man. I would say that's like so important, and that's something I developed probably the past couple of years. Like before, like I was willing to learn, but I was less open. Now I'm like, man, I can't wait to go in this session and pick something out of these guys I'm going to be with, like whether it's production or songwriting or mixing, whatever the case is. Like I can't wait. I think that's something we were talking about. Like, yo, do you love music? You were asking me if I love music. I was like, yeah, I love music, but I love creating more. Like
than the business of it,
because the business can be a little disheartening.
It's business.
It's business. You know,
it's just business.
It's just business. You know what I mean? So, but I do love the process of setting a goal and hitting it. I do love getting better and hearing that you're getting better. That's stuff that I'm like addicted to. Like I need that to happen. I need to be doing something to progress and get better. I love noticing where I was and then where I am.
Those jumps. Yeah.
Like I love that's something like that's what I love. And that comes from creating every day, whether it's songwriting, whether it's production, or even if it's working on mixing, whatever the case is, bringing something to life out of thin air is what I love to do.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
I mean? And it's really something crazy. And then on top of that, if you can make something that sounds incredible, you're just like, because not everything you make is like the most incredible thing ever. But when you get that one, you just know like, oh man, this is special, you know? And that's something I try to strive for in like all my sessions. Like make something I want to listen to. Make something that maybe gives you some goosebumps here and there. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal, man. Seeing yourself progress, that is like my ultimate high from doing music. That 110%.
Same over here, bro. Just seeing what you were before and the heights that you could reach and the potential that you could possibly get further than that. That's basically what we've been chasing. That's where it kind of comes down to where it's like, does it ever end? Technically, no. Because it's like you want to be a better person. Every day, it's just like, you know, when we wake up every day, it's like you want to learn something new or you have to learn something new.
Right.
Because when you're not really going to be able to appreciate a lot of shit you're doing now until you hit like 60 and you can look back at it. And even then, you're probably still doing, well, I don't know, 60, I might be retired. No, but who knows? You might still be doing some shit as a label exec or doing some different shit.
Trying to do something, but I think it's important to have that instilled in you. Like, be obsessed with getting better, you know? And I think that's been I wish everyone here could have saw when we first started doing music, and you can hear my shitty ass songs that I was making. And I was like, yo, man, this is awesome.
Right.
No, it wasn't. Like, and now I understand why motherfuckers were like ripping on me.
Yeah.
But
we talk about that all the time on here.
But we didn't understand that the ideas were there.
Yeah.
And whether it might not sound, you know, if you're someone who's starting out and you're worried about that, like, oh man, it just doesn't sound like theirs, you know? Sure, okay. But compare that song to a few months later. and then compare that song to the next couple months later. And if you're steady going up, you're going to see that progression, man. Like that is the process. Like I love that.
And you know what that starts from? That starts from the belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Like that, I'll say that when I listen back to older songs I made and I'm like, these songs suck. Even then, I believed that I could be whoever the fuck I wanted to be in music.
Right.
And I still believe that. I still walk around telling people I'm going to be one of the greatest executives that the game has ever seen. And I believe that.
I believe it.
I believe it too.
I wake up believing that. So you can't stop me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anyone could look at me and be like, this guy's fucking crazy. He doesn't know shit. But like I wake up every day and I fucking believe that.
Yep.
When you told me I sucked at rapping, I believed that I was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what you tell me.
Right.
Your opinions don't affect me.
Exactly.
And that's why, like, when I do listen back to a record and go, yo, I sucked back then, but I believed I could be who I am right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I always believed in myself when no one believed in me.
Yeah.
So I think that for artists out there, what you need to do is you need to believe in yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away.
No.
It doesn't. It took a while for me to feel that.
Too.
Did it?
Yeah. For me personally, I was nowhere near as confident that I am now. Probably like when I was, let me say like 2 or 3 years ago. That's when I
hit that stride.
I was like, you know what? I fucking deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I was doing things that these guys were doing. I was like, no, it's only a matter of time.
Yep.
And I would tell everybody that. I'm like, yo, I'm going to get there. It's just a matter of time. Just give me time. Like, I know I'm going. I feel it.
Yep.
It was like, I used to tell myself that in earlier on, and I almost like didn't believe it. Like, there was a certain part of my body that just like, it was uncomfortable to say that I'm like, I deserve to be here. And then a few years ago, like, I started saying that, and then I started feeling it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. No, I'm good here. Like, this is where I belong, you know? And I felt that throughout my whole body, and I would walk like that.
Yep.
Too. I started talking like
and
that.
Everyone starts believing it.
Everyone.
Because I'll say this about myself as an artist. People were not fans until they were in the room with me.
Right. They got to see it.
When they would see how I felt about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened back to the records that they were calling hard, and I fucking hate those records.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing. They were looking at me talking about it. And they were looking at me doing those songs.
Right.
And they saw how much I fucking felt it and how much I believed it. And it made them fucking believe it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They'll look at someone who has that confidence. And even if the music sucks, they'll look at them and go, no, that motherfucker's dope.
Yeah. The confidence will do it.
Because you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all about you believing it. And if you believe something, I don't care what it is, bro. If you believe you're going to be the best carpenter in the world, you'll be the best carpenter in the world. It just takes time. But it starts with you believing in it.
You can't be Jesus, though.
You can.
I think he was the best carpenter, technically.
Well, for what?
Jesus. He's a carpenter. Forget it.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do we have anything else to say?
No.
Nah, man.
That was the best end.
That might have been probably one of the.
Y'all didn't know he was a carpenter for real?
I knew Jesus was a carpenter. I just didn't know how it applied.
I don't know.
You said if you want to be the best carpenter in the world, you can't be Jesus.
Yeah, no, that self-belief is critical to everything. And I think like all the people that were kind of cracking on me when I first started music, valid when you hear it, it's not. But what they didn't see is the potential.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I saw.
Yeah,
I saw that in my head. I was like, they don't see that.
But that's belief.
I do.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the belief.
We're talking about the same thing. That potential that you saw was that belief that I could be this person that I think I could be. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I feel like a big reason why I'm even in this position now is literally all these years, I just wanted to prove something to myself. That's all it was. I was obsessed with proving myself wrong because for years, it's just growing up, like never winning like championship. Like I'm talking stupid shit.
100%.
But you don't win a championship or
armor.
you missed a shot in a big game or whatever the case is. I always was like, I almost did it. I almost got there.
Yep.
And then I got to the point where I took it personally on myself. It's like, No,
How
no,
many
I'm
times
not going to
right.
almost do this. I'm
Right.
doing this,
Right.
and I'm going to get
Yep.
to where I got to go.
Yep.
It was me trying to prove myself wrong the whole time.
Yep.
So I stopped worrying about everything
Everybody
else, and I was just like, no, I'm going to do this for me personally. It was just something I had to do.
Yeah.
And that literally off that, you have to find whatever drives you and hold on to that and let it just guide you to
Because,
where you
dog,
want to
that's
go.
what killed my basketball career was me no longer believing that I could be that guy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, my basketball career was killed as soon as I saw dudes who really believed that they could be that guy. In basketball.
Mm,
In rap, I always felt like that. In
Right.
basketball, I looked at these guys who came from Jersey City, who came from nothing, and they really believed that they could be that guy. And I was like, I don't feel that same way that they feel about it.
right,
You know?
right,
And
right,
that's when I knew it was dead, bro.
Right,
Like, this isn't for me anymore.
right.
You know, because once you stop believing that you could be that guy, it's over.
Yep.
You know, so as an artist, my piece of advice to you off this episode would be literally never stop believing that you could be that guy.
Right.
You know, whoever you want to be, you can be that, but you have to believe it. No
Yeah.
one's going to believe it until you believe it.
Exactly. Yeah, in any field, really.
Yeah.
Any field that you're in, you know, music or anything else, man. It's like
Any business.
any business. You just got to see it. If you can see it in your mind vividly, you can bring it to life.
Mhm.
But you have to be willing to find something that drives you and will take you, you know, for the long run. You know, it's not there's no shortcuts in this game that we're always trying to look for. There really isn't, man. It's a crazy ride to be on, but you learn a lot of shit along the way, so it's pretty
Yep.
fun.
Anything else?
Go Cox, Jersey. That's it.
I already got kicked out.
I know, but they still had a parade.
The
The
Peacocks.
Peacocks. I don't know. That's a weird shit to say, right?
St. Peter's Peacocks.
Oh, that one kid's from Nutley.
Oh, is he?
mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
from
really?
Nutley.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay. Big
Yeah.
up Nutley.
Yeah, yeah, man. So,
All right, guys. Rappers Guide Podcast. We're signing out. This is Diggy Metro.
Bells Pagliacci.
Mark Borino.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.